We turn our attention now to the state of the Israeli economy, 4.5 months on from the Hamas attacks of the 7th of October and, of course, the ensuing war in Gaza that continues. The first set of official data detailing the impact the war has had has now been published. Charles Pellegrin joins us now to give us an overview of that data. Charles.
That's right, Haxi. The headline figure here is that gross domestic product, GDP, in the last 3 months of the year, so after the October 7th attacks by Hamas and after Israel's offensive in Gaza, fell close to 20% compared to a year prior. That's the steepest drop in GDP, an estimate of how much the Israeli economy produced since the pandemic in 2020. It's also much more than what had been anticipated by analysts at Bloomberg, who'd forecasted a 10.5% drop in that last quarter. Now, looking into more detail, it's clear that a sudden drop in consumer spending had a huge impact, falling 27%. While investment dropped even more at close to 68%. All of that was somewhat offset by government spending, which surged 88% because of that war effort. And looking at trade, both exports and imports dropped 18 and 42% respectively. Looking at the whole year, though, the Israeli economy still grew by 2%, in sharp contrast to the economy of the Palestinian territories, who saw their GDP decline 6%, according to the International Monetary Fund.
And what, Charles, are the facts behind these numbers?
Well, the overarching factor here is the war and its effects. The offensive into Gaza mobilized hundreds of thousands of reservists in the Israeli army who had to temporarily leave their jobs, leading to an 8% decline in the workforce and to a drop in productivity. Some 200,000 Israelis have also had to evacuate their homes, whether near Gaza or near the border with Lebanon in the north, leading to local businesses being paralyzed or having to shut shop. The drop in fixed asset investments can be explained by the drop in investment in residential buildings in an uncertain context. The construction industry as a whole has been devastated. It relied on Palestinian workers on whom Israeli authorities imposed an overnight ban after the October 7th attacks. Thousands of foreign workers from Asia also left in the shock of the aftermath of that attack. It'll take time for this particular industry to get back on its feet.
And what then, Charles, are the prospects for the Israeli economy going forward?
Well, in 2024, the Bank of Israel sees growth staying stable at 2%, while the finance ministry sees it slowing down to 1.6%. The authorities almost immediately put in place measures to prop up the economy and try and contain the damage. The central bank pledged to sell $30 billion from its reserves to support the local currency, the shekel, which has rallied since October. Some indicators are starting to show a rebound. For instance, consumer confidence and industrial activity is still officially contracting, but at a smallest margin in months. The Israeli state will have to contend with higher rates to support their economy, though. Higher interest rates. Ratings agency Moody's lowered the government's rating for the first time ever this month, just as it was planning to ramp up bond issuance to keep funding the conflict. Moody's justified their decision by citing the increased fiscal burden of the war on Hamas and increased political risk.
Charles Pellegrin, thank you very much.